Tonight, the risk of returning. A Western Suburbs high school shut down after a teenager tests positive. And fears of a second wave if workers rush back to public transport. A zookeeper clinging to life. 2 lions attacked her as she cleaned their enclosure. We'll cross live for the latest. Chaotic scenes in the United States as protests over a police killing spill into a 3rd day of violence and searing race anger. Tens of millions of dollars raised for Victorian bushfire relief on its way to fund the crucial work our volunteer heroes. And banking on a true blue bounce back with the launch of a new Australia-made campaign.
This is 10 News First Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
First tonight to breaking news, a massive back down by the Morrison government over the controversial Robodebt scheme. And it's set to cost close to $750 million. Tegan George joins us live now. Tegan, what's the government decided to do?
Well, Jen, this is a life-changing announcement for so many Aussies, some of whom have been chased for 4 years over debts that the government has now conceded were wrongly collected. Not only will they be getting their money back, they're also going to be receiving interest. The government, though, is still facing a class action over the scheme, which a federal court judge found used flawed calculations to recoup debts from alleged welfare overpayments. They were due to go to trial, reportedly in July. A hastily scheduled Friday afternoon press conference with just half an hour's notice.
We're all good?
To announce the government is ditching its controversial Robodebt scheme.
The best advice we have is that raising a debt wholly or partly on the basis of ATO income average or averaged income is not sufficient under law.
The Morrison government has just conceded the largest ever class action settlement in the history of Australia.
All 470,000 debts raised by the scheme will be cleared, with 373,000 Aussies to get $721 million back in their pockets.
I promised I'd come back to the Australian people with updated information, which I'm doing openly and transparently today.
And you've got the Minister and the Prime Minister telling everyone on a Friday night, so they hope that the matter gets overlooked in the weekend sporting news. This government should be ashamed of itself.
The press conference was called just minutes after the Prime Minister finished his own. There was no mention of Robodebt, instead a big announcement.
COAG is no more.
The national cabinet format created during the pandemic is working.
We've been able to find that candour and that collegiality in that new format. The National Cabinet will continue to work with a laser-like mission focus on creating jobs as we come out of the COVID crisis.
It means the PM and premiers will hold video meetings every fortnight, moving to monthly once the crisis is over. No bureaucrats are allowed, and the talks will be bound by cabinet confidentiality.
When these groups get together, there's a lot of theatre, there's a lot of people in the room, and that can really, I think, restrict the genuine reform discussions that you have to have.
This is the second time in as many weeks the government has left it until a Friday afternoon to reveal an embarrassing blunder. Last week, it was the $60 billion miscalculation with the JobKeeper program. Whether the stimulus payments will be extended, Peter Dutton thinks there's wiggle room.
I think we're flexible, and we'll look at the way in which we can help businesses and people get back to a normal way of life.
Even though JobKeeper is costing $60 billion less than initially planned, the Treasurer appears to be more keen on sector-specific support.
For example, tourism, as the international borders remain closed. Also, construction in the housing sector will be important to give support.
But Labor wants the arts and entertainment industry added to that list.
This is about our culture. It is about our quality of life. The arts enrich all of us.
I'm basically on 1/10 of the income I was previously.
Leaving many to wonder whether post-pandemic the show can go on. Tegan George for 10 News First.
Victorian workers are being urged to dob in their boss if they try to push them back to the office. It follows stark warnings about a second wave of infections, as a high school is forced to shut down after a teenager tested positive to coronavirus.
Another Victorian school scrubbed clean because of coronavirus. Nathaniel Peacock, among hundreds of students at Keilor Downs College, told to stay at home.
And last night we got a compass post from our principal, and she said that it's confirmed not to come to school today.
A student from the secondary college and their relative are among 7 new Victorian COVID-19 cases. The child went to school on Tuesday. They attended a vocational class with 6 students from nearby Taylors Lakes and 1 from St Albans Secondary College.
But might indicate that there are some low levels of transmission in or around Keilor Downs.
Sooner or later, we're all gonna get it, probably.
Nurses today conducted tests on school staff, and a mobile testing van will tomorrow be deployed to the suburb. It came as the Premier declared those working from home must continue or their bosses could face fines.
There is no option but to do this.
Daniel Andrews warned of a public transport capacity cap of 15%.
The current rate of public transport usage is about 18%.
But the union wants the rail operators to go a step further and seal off the first and last carriages on older Comenge trains. Their concerns are for the drivers and the air that's being circulated from the passengers' carriage into the driver's cabin.
There have been deaths in the United States. About 110 drivers have died from COVID-19, and it's the same issue. They're sharing the airspace with people.
The Premier says he'll consider the proposal. Simon Love for 10 News First.
And state political reporter Simon Love joins us live now. Simon, how will the public transport cap work?
Well, Jen, it's unclear as of yet how this will be enforced. 15% is the amount of full capacity in which the public transport system can run to ensure that there's adequate social distancing on trains, trams and buses. Not yet sure whether passengers will be stopped at the Mikey barricades or even the gates before the next train is even available to them. Expecting more detail as this plan is nutted out in the coming weeks. But the onus will really be on employers to ensure that they keep their employees that have been at home. If they don't and try and bring them into the office, well, the workers can dob them in, and there's some hefty fines, Jen. $10,000 stretching up to $100,000 if the matter's taken to court.
All right, thank you very much, Simon. A zoo worker is fighting for life after being set upon by 2 lions as she cleaned an enclosure at a zoo on the south coast of New South Wales. Her workmates put their own lives at risk, rushing into the lion's den to restrain the animals to rescue her.
A rescue chopper on a desperate dash to save a zookeeper's life. A woman who strived to give these lions the best life, now on the brink of losing her own.
Police found a 35-year-old female employee suffering wounds to the neck and head.
Those injuries classed as critical. The work of 2 male lions at Shoalhaven Zoo. The animals turned on the experienced wildlife carer as she was cleaning their enclosure. 2 of the woman's colleagues rushed in to rescue her, securing the animals and keeping her alive long enough for paramedics to arrive.
My priority was to make sure they were secured, and they were, so then I could focus on the patient care. I've got to say, since I was first on scene, it was a little bit daunting in the sense of being there and seeing then there was 2 lions nearby.
The keeper was stretchered to a rescue chopper and flown to hospital.
Join one of our awesome keepers in this unique opportunity to go behind the scenes and meet our awesome foursome up close.
The big cats are usually a selling point for the South Coast tourist attraction, which even offers a chance to get right up close.
Jabari, can I?
It's not the first time a keeper has ended up on the wrong end of things here, though. In 2014, a croc handler was dragged into a body of water by a saltwater crocodile, suffering minor injuries. This latest incident is again placing the safety practices here under the spotlight of both police and WorkSafe.
If there's anything that we can do to make them make these type of establishments safer, we'll be doing our best to support that.
The zoo is so far refusing to comment. Michael Hammond for 10 News First.
Michael Hammond joins us live now. Michael, what's the latest on the zookeeper's condition?
Yes, good evening, Jennifer. The woman is still fighting for life in a Sydney hospital, it's understood. Her family has now joined her and is keeping vigil, hoping that she pulls through. As for the lions involved, police are still working out whether those animals will be put down. They say that there is no firm decision yet and they are still working through this with the authorities and both the zoo management. As for those zoo management, well, they're still refusing to comment at the moment. They're inside speaking with police, and we will bring you any developments as they come.
OK, thank you very much, Michael. Protesters in the US city of Minneapolis have stormed a police precinct, setting it alight. A state of emergency has been declared as demonstrators angry over the death of a black man in police custody again take their fury onto the streets.
A city burning with anger, now up in flames.
The building just exploded! Oh my God!
The Minneapolis police station, the latest building set on fire as rage continues to spill onto the streets. A race riot sparked by the death of George Floyd, an African-American man who died during an arrest by white police officers.
Please. Please.
What wasn't lit up was ransacked.
Hey, 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 hey!
Even the looters were stunned by what they saw.
This is literally the craziest stuff I've ever seen right now.
Civilian militia offering protection where police couldn't.
We better kit up and go see if these guys need help.
As morning broke, the ashy streets looked apocalyptic.
This is like complete anarchic carnage.
The message was clear.
This is what happens. This is what is built up to this.
But rioters hadn't finished just yet. A second wave of looting, people stealing as much as they could carry. There were simply bizarre scenes and pockets of lawlessness where not even those in a wheelchair were safe.
Well, we reacted differently in different cases, and we got no response other than just relax and not guilty.
The mayor was in tears.
I love Minneapolis. And in believing in our city, we must believe that we can be better than we have been.
New body cam footage appears to show all 4 officers working together during the deadly arrest. A new security video shows George Floyd calmly sitting at the start of his arrest. And while all were fired, 4 days later there are still no charges. Each officer pleading the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent.
The reason why you see the anger in Minneapolis is because this is not the first time.
A similar case happened here in New York City 6 years ago when a black man, Eric Garner, was strangled to death during his arrest by a white police officer. Today, his mother says this feels like deja vu.
And this is just opening up an old wound, pouring salt into it.
President Trump's top officials are overseeing the investigation.
I feel very, very badly. It's a very shocking sight.
So too is this during a protest on the streets of Denver. A deeper wedge being driven into a country already divided. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First in the United States.
It's been revealed a man and a woman found dead in a Notting Hill home yesterday were mother and son. Detectives from the Monash Crime Investigation Unit and Homicide Squad are investigating the possibility it was a murder-suicide. They spent last night collecting evidence at the property, but are yet to reveal how the 34-year-old man and a 63-year-old woman died. Well, celebrities from our Kylie to Kylie Jenner, along with everyday Aussies, have officially raised an extraordinary $20.5 million for the CFA in the wake of the summer's devastating bushfires. And today the money began to flow to the fire brigades and the communities who fought so hard to save so many.
David Jones has worked in the Foster Fire Brigade for 42 years. He's fought everything from house fires to Ash Wednesday, but says what he saw in Can River on New Year's Eve was something else entirely.
I've never seen a fire take off so fast and so quick as what it did.
It was just one of dozens of fires that burned 1.2 million hectares across Victoria, from Malakuta to Kudjua. These images and the devastating tales from many bushfire-affected communities saw Hollywood megastars such as Kylie Jenner and Chris Hemsworth rally behind the CFA.
What we need is your support and your donations.
Their efforts, along with those of everyday Aussies, raised a massive $20.5 million.
Look, we're just so excited, so grateful, humbled actually that people would support us to that extent.
The CFA chief today announced just where that money will go.
We've already got some new trucks in some of our brigades, but we're looking for smaller gear like chainsaws, like thermal imaging cameras, some basic equipment.
That involves a huge boost to volunteer training, including a $9 million 5-year leadership program and close to $1 million to spread bushfire safety advice to regional areas. The money isn't just going to those areas that burnt, but all those affected, including tiny towns like Foster. This town wasn't hit this summer, but its entire brigade spent the entire summer helping those that were.
For people in the community to see it on television is one thing, but to live it is something else.
Said the people that generously donated money, thank you.
Georgia Love for 10 News First.
And now here's Stephen, and COVID has claimed another sport.
Yeah, afraid so, Jen. The Australian MotoGP is the latest big-ticket item to be cancelled because of coronavirus. But it's better news for the English Premier League. 4 is enough interchange to stay the same for now. And 24 hours before liftoff, Melbourne Storm prepare to take centre stage.
Thanks, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News First, the fate of thousands of Brumbies in our alpine national parks sealed by the courts. And bracing for a China backlash as Australia joins international condemnation of Beijing's Hong Kong crackdown.
Wonderful. I love it. Weird. That was awesome. Wacky. Ice cream.
We want you to blow our minds with amazing combos.
Strawberry and wasabi.
It is exactly what we're looking for. Give me more of that. I love it.
Corn and miso.
Flavour combination is bang on, bang on.
I think this challenge is going to be really up my alley.
Jess, what are you thinking?
Kind of pairing licorice dark chocolate with basil.
Say what?
It's a little bit weird, basil and licorice. I don't know, I've never had that combination before. Have you?
No, I haven't. I don't like licorice at all.
You don't like licorice, but you make a licorice ice cream?
Will this crazy flavor
lead to the most emotional episode of the season?
It has been an utter pleasure to watch you cook the most incredible creations, but now it's time to say goodbye.
A wonderful, weird, wacky ice cream elimination on 10. Who will go? 7:30 Sunday.
Different is making rather than buying, and saving rather than discarding. Embrace different and find the glad in it.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate. Make this Saturday one to remember. If your horse runs second, third or even fourth in races 1 to 6 at Rose Hill, get your money back in bonus up to $50. PointsBet.
Do you have heartburn or indigestion? Gaviscon Dual Action relieves them both. It works fast. 2 ways. It neutralises excess stomach acid and it forms a protective barrier to help stop stomach acid from rising. Gaviscon Dual Action.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale ends Sunday. Save on a great range of quality furniture. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale. Must end this Sunday. Hurry.
What is this doing on the ground?
Staying at home every day is hard, but it's never a good reason for abuse. For more information, visit respectvictoria.vic.gov.au. Supported by the Victorian Government.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, what's that smell? Pino Clean Washing Machine Cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's Pino Clean.
Chloe and Zoe are twins and Amy customers, so you have the same taste.
We both like our crafted cushions and finished faux fur.
We love our HD, LED, LCD, 4K pixel TVs.
Do you choose to save now or later on your insurance?
Later.
Buy a home or car insurance policy and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
A high country horse lover has lost a Supreme Court bid to stop the Victorian government culling Brumbies in the Eastern Alps. Emma O'Sullivan joins us live now. Emma, when will Parks Victoria begin the cull?
Jen, it could start within 2 weeks. Today, Parks Victoria gave an undertaking to the court. They won't start shooting until the 9th of June, and that could be extended a few days if an appeal is lodged. The reason Parks Victoria made that promise to the court is because they know the other side is seeking to appeal and even threatened to seek a formal court order, an injunction to stop the cull from beginning until any appeal is finalised, and Parks Victoria wasn't so keen on that. Omeo resident Philip Maguire brought the state government to court. He lets the Brumbies graze on his property. His complaint was that the state government did not seek any community consultation in drawing up the plan for the removal of horses. Parks Victoria says their numbers have grown significantly in the past 5 years. They estimate there's about 5,000 roaming the Eastern Alps. Today, a Supreme Court judge ruled the state government wasn't legally obliged to seek the community's opinion. This has been an expensive affair for Mr Maguire. He won't automatically get an appeal. He'll have to first go to a hearing to seek permission for one, and today he was ordered to pay the government's legal costs.
OK, thank you very much, Emma. Police have been defended over the use of lethal force during a tense standoff at the side of the Monash Freeway yesterday. Investigators will examine what prompted the 53-year-old to lunge at police with a knife before he was fatally shot by officers.
It was a tragic end to a dramatic standoff. A 53-year-old man shot dead by police in front of dozens of horrified motorists.
The use of lethal force is not something they came to work hoping to have to deploy. It's an action of absolute last resort.
Those actions are now under scrutiny, with an investigation being overseen by Victoria Police's Professional Standards Command. It's routine practice for an incident of this kind, and the Police Association says the officers involved have their full support.
Police have less than seconds to save their lives or the lives of others in the community. They choose the options that they can, given the environmental circumstances that they're confronted in.
Investigators will be reviewing body cam footage captured by officers at the scene. They'll also be looking into vision shown from fixed cameras along the freeway and dash cam footage from passing motorists. Police were called to the Monash Freeway near the Eastlink interchange in Dandenong North after concerns were raised about the man who had stopped near an on-ramp. But negotiations stalled and he pulled out a knife, officers initially firing non-lethal bullets before fatally shooting him. The man was known to police and appeared to be having a mental health episode. His family was notified of his death on Thursday and declined to make any comment. Catherine Firkin for 10 News First.
Fire has claimed the life of a 93-year-old man in the state's northwest. CFA crews were called to a house in Mildura overnight. A woman in her 80s managed to escape the flames with minor injuries. Sadly, her husband was trapped inside and wasn't able to be saved. Investigations into the exact cause of the fire continue, but at this stage isn't believed to be suspicious. A car parts factory has gone up in flames in Melbourne's north today, forcing several people to flee. About 50 firefighters were called to the Freight Drive property in Somerton after smoke was seen pouring from the roof just before 7 a.m. The fire took hold in an oil vat inside the building, but the cause is still under investigation. 4 people were on site but weren't injured. Well, let's take a look at the traffic now. Sebastian Cant has the best view from the chopper.
Oh, I certainly do. Thank you, Jen. Good evening. We are above the Calder Freeway this evening around Killor Park near Green Gully Drive. You can see just the one car left after a two-car collision. Finally, all running lanes have just opened. That is heading outbound, but as we pan up towards the Tullamarine Freeway, we've got massive delays coming off the Tullamarine Freeway heading out towards the Calder Freeway. We'll be back again shortly in the Keyte traffic chopper. Jen?
Thank you, Sebastian. And ahead in 10 News First, reviving the Australian-made campaign to lift our economy out of the doldrums, and how Donald Trump is trying to rewrite social media laws in his spat with Twitter.
And we'll have your weekend with the details shortly and introduce you to this cute 3-month-old pug.
One in 3 Australians are reaping the benefits of cutting out or cutting back on meat. Get your free veg starter kit at vegkit.com.
Jamie's serving up sizzling fajitas.
Really fun, family-friendly food. Yeah.
Then Graham's getting hot with Katy Perry.
I put the hoe in Hollywood.
And Steve Carell, well, he's on fire.
And then my head bursts into flames.
It's your Friday winter warmer tonight on 10. Ooh, careful, it's hot.
Dear Australia, we've been seeing a lot of you now that you're home a bit more. And we've noticed some wonderful things. Strangers becoming neighbours, neighbours becoming friends, and even tea parties over side fences. We wanted to mark this moment in our history. So we've created a national letterbox where you can share your experience of this time in a letter, which we'll preserve for future generations. We look forward to hearing from you. Love, Australia Post.
Make your home a sanctuary with distinctive luxury homewares up to 75% off with Canning Bell's Luxury for Less sale. Shop online with code FREE for fast free shipping and a 100-day home trial. Limited time only. CanningBell.com.
Whether you're turning portraits into paintings and floors into art rooms, we're here for all those messy little moments.
Car City is making it easier for you to safely buy your next vehicle. 7 days a week. Wander comfortably through 12 acres of vehicles while safely practicing social distancing, or find the car you want online and we'll bring it to you. Maroondah Highway Ringwood or carcity.com.au.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress taking Australia by storm. It's the next generation mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers, making history. Choices best overall mattress 2 years in a row. That's Sleeping Duck. One giant leap for your sleep.
Muscle and osteo pain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
Guys, this has just arrived. Beautiful garment. There's a big stain on it. Trust pink, forget hot, half a scoop, cold water from Vanish. I think this is going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm up for it. Pop it in the tub, cold water, give it a little bit of a rub. Blows my mind that it is this easy. How beautiful is this blouse? And look, no stain.
For amazing results, just cold wash with Vanish Oxy Action.
At Harvey Norman, get up to $500 of bonus gift cards on Intel laptops. Get a $100 bonus gift card with this Lenovo IdeaPad laptop, now only $999. A bonus $200 gift card with this Asus VivoBook Flip laptop for $1,499. Or a bonus $400 gift card with this HP Pavilion laptop featuring the latest 10th Gen Intel Core i7 processor. Up to $500 of bonus gift cards on Intel laptops, now at Harvey Norman.
From the director of Bridesmaids comes Stan's new series starring Anna Kendrick.
Have you found the one?
No, I found some losers on Match.com.
The brand new series Love Life, now streaming only on Stan.
We want you to blow our minds with amazing combos.
The Ice Cream Elimination, Sunday.
Welcome back. As state leaders trade barbs over border closures, we have some exclusive polling tonight about what Australians really think about travelling during the pandemic. It turns out an overwhelming number want the states to stay shut until the emergency is over.
The people have spoken.
Across the country, 3/4 of the population support what the premiers are doing.
Exclusive polling given to 10 News First reveals most Australians want state borders to remain closed. And while our premiers bicker over travel restrictions,
we're not going to be lectured to by a state that has the highest number of cases.
We're all adults and we should be able to have this conversation.
An online poll of more than 1,000 voters revealed 77% support border closures and only 18% strongly oppose them. Support is highest in Western Australia, with 88% in total support of border closures, 78% in Queensland, 76% in Victoria and 70% in New South Wales.
I think we will and should see a cautious reopening of borders, but it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all approach.
Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk wants to stay cut off from the country until September, sparking a fight with One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, who is taking the border battle to the High Court. But this polling shows 7 in 10 Australians are in support of the way the Queensland government has handled the situation. While 10 News First understands the Commonwealth is considering supporting Hanson's High Court challenge, the results of this poll may give them pause for thought. So it's clear Premier Palaszczuk has the support of the people for now, despite the health advice never recommending borders be shut in the first place.
Opening or closing the borders shouldn't be a popularity contest.
Stella Todorovic for 10 News First.
One of our favourite ad campaigns is back at a time when we need it most. It's Made in Australia, remade.
For decades, it's been the campaign that pulls at Australian heartstrings.
Every one of us can help create jobs and make the future more secure for our kids. How? Just buying Australian made.
So why change a thing?
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now.
This is Australian Made 2020. The new campaign will roll out on Monday.
When you buy Australian, not only are you getting a product made to some of the highest quality and safety standards in the world, you're pumping money back into the economy, and most importantly at the moment, you're creating Aussie jobs.
The Australian Workers Union drilled down on the figures. If Australian steel was used in 8 major government projects like the new Sydney fish markets, it would create 3,000 jobs and give a $200 million boost to the economy. And here's another great break. With restrictions easing on Monday, you can grab your board, grab your empty esky and finally go on a surf trip, but with extra purpose.
So obviously with your esky, we want you to fill it up, spend your money down the bushfire affected areas and let's get down to those communities that really need that help.
Empty esky rose from the ashes of the fires, but is now also helping regional businesses recovering from COVID-19 lockdowns. For the first time, Empty Esky has teed up with Surfing New South Wales and put itineraries on their website to take the guesswork out of where to go. Just got to hope the weather obliges.
You just really want to get down to an area that really needs it, and there's wave-rich areas everywhere and everyone loves a surf road trip, so everyone's hanging out.
Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
A pen has become Donald Trump's weapon in the war against what he says is fake news. He's signed an executive order taking away legal protections for online platforms. His decision makes social media companies such as Twitter and Facebook publishers and liable for their content.
Social media companies that engage in censoring or any political conduct will not be able to keep their liability shield. That's a big deal.
It's all because Twitter started fact-checking the president's tweets. Donald Trump has more than 80 million followers. History has been made in the US with the largest plane to be powered by electricity taking flight. The Cessna, which usually seats 9 passengers, flew for around 30 minutes. It's the brainchild of 2 local aviation companies, aiming to set up short flights using all-electric, zero-emissions planes. And now here's Mike with a look ahead to the weather.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. What a lovely day it turned out to be. 17 degrees in Melbourne this afternoon after a 7-degree start, so a little cooler than yesterday, but still rather comfortable. And there are no real fogs to talk about. And if you're happy with today's 17, again, 17 scheduled for tomorrow. A lot of sunshine in the morning, a bit of cloud building up in the afternoon, and there may be some windy weather late in the afternoon, perhaps even a shower at night. And then Sunday is colder, our last day of autumn, and also a couple of spots of rain. But then Monday's the chilly day, first day of winter, and that's when the rain really starts falling. Okay, it is Friday. It is 5:30. Time to
give it, dog, go home.
Yep, give it or go home. And this is Zoe. How cute is she? 3 months of age, a pug cross. She wants to go to your place. All the details at dogshome.com. Got the forecast in full with a magnificent shot of our wonderful Wheeler Docklands. I'll see you then. Jen.
Thank you, Mike. Still to come, all the latest finance figures and the Queen's secret letters about Gough Whitlam's dismissal to be revealed.
On Tan's Must See Monday, your home of sensational food is MasterChef at 7:30.
Oh man, super delicious.
It was just a really, really lovely hug in a bowl.
Then later, your home of big laughs is Have You Been Paying Attention?
I can honestly say I've never felt more at home. Okay.
Your home of big entertainment?
Still in isolation, but that hasn't stopped us.
Is Tan's Must See Monday from 7:30.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it, clap, clap. Alright, so clap it back. Hey, hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
If you've been injured at work, on the road or in a public place, your normal life can suddenly stop. Check if you have a claim for compensation online in minutes so you can start again. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
You'd never clean your surfaces with this, so why use this? Sponges can carry millions of germs. Dettol wipes kill germs instead of spreading them. Now biodegradable and compostable.
For relief from frequent heartburn, there's an alternative to prescription medicine. New Zanzol 24-hour. Available from your pharmacist without a prescription, Zanzol 24-hour lets you take control of heartburn and acid reflux on your own terms. By reducing stomach acid production, it provides relief from the burning sensation in the chest that occurs when stomach acid rises up into the esophagus. So take control of your heartburn. Choose Zanzol 24-hour today.
You don't give in. You don't give up. You push on when most would have pushed off. You lend a hand, whether a hand was asked for or not. It's called Aussie Spirit for good reason, because it takes spirit to get through times like these. Lucky you've got it in spades. It's what inspires us to be by your side to help. Together we'll get through this. We always do. Search Toyota, here to help.
Let's do it, baby. On, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
Is your home bursting at the seams? Call Storage King. Whether you just need to create more space, kids homeschooling, working from home, or your family and business need to declutter, Storage King has the answer. With stores everywhere, there's a location just around the corner. Making Storage King the kings of storage, moving and more. Temporary or permanent solutions with no lock-in contracts and contactless move-in. Call now and let Storage King give you back some space.
Even remotely, our home loan specialist can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
What does being the #1 tennis player in the world taste like? Well, I don't know. It's kind of a little bit something like it would be. Yeah, that's it. Vegemite. Tastes like Australia.
Abigail Thomas took office as the first woman to be named Chief of Police in the history of our city.
How do I look?
Tommy premieres Wednesday.
A veil of secrecy is about to be lifted on one of the most controversial events in our political history. The High Court today ruled that secret letters between the Queen and Sir John Kerr discussing the dismissal of Prime Minister Gough Whitlam can finally be made public.
Well may we say, God save the Queen.
because nothing will save the Governor-General.
What was saved were letters swapped by Queen Elizabeth and Sir John Kerr during that turbulent time in 1975. The 211 pieces of correspondence have been locked away in Canberra's National Archive until now.
Pivotal documents, pivotal historical documents were kept in our own archives and embargoed by the Queen.
Biographer Professor Jennifer Hocking has been fighting for their release since 2016. Today, she had a win in the High Court.
It will be enthralling to see what he was saying, but also what he wasn't saying. Was he informing the palace of Whitlam's decision to call a half-Senate election?
The letters had been marked private and not subject to normal release rules.
I don't come to work every day to keep stuff secret. I come to work every day to make stuff public. Everybody that works at the archives is focused on creating that public good through the release of records.
According to Sir John's instructions and the Queen's wishes, the palace letters were to remain out of the public domain for 60 years from the Governor-General's retirement. So that's until the 8th of December 2037. But following his death in 1991, that was brought forward to 2027. But even then, in fact, the Queen's private secretary would have held a final veto on their release. That's no longer the case, but it will take a couple more weeks for the letters to be declassified. And for those who've been waiting more than 4 decades... Charlotte Goodlett for 10 News First.
Well, it was the end of a radio era this morning when broadcaster Alan Jones hosted his breakfast show for the final time. He's been on air for 35 years, interviewing countless politicians, celebrities and sporting heroes. Many called in today. But it was his listeners who heaped the most praise.
It's a bit overwhelming, to be honest with you. It's a bit overwhelming, but I never imagined it was like this, but people are very kind. So that's it from me. Together in spirit always, but for now, goodbye.
The 79-year-old, who cited his health for stepping down, won an unprecedented 226 rating surveys. Well, let's take another look at our roads. It's back up to the traffic chopper and Sebastian Cant.
Thank you, Jan. Good evening again. Above the Western Ring Road now in the Veg Kit traffic chopper. We're looking at police in the right-hand running lane, blocking the right-hand running lane due to an earlier crash. Tow trucks have just gone, but as you can see, huge delays heading up towards the Hume. Massive delays from this angle. It looks even worse coming up from the Tullamarine Freeway, but at least if we look up at the beautiful sunset, it makes us happy. I'll see you again shortly, Jen.
OK, thanks, Sebastian. Now here's Stephen with Friday Sport, and shorter quarters will be a one-off for the AFL.
Yes, it will be, Jen. 16 minutes it will be in 2020, but that's it as tradition wins out. And the league has also put a line through more interchange. Also, the Bulldogs still with some work to do. And talk about bad luck, yet another serious body blow for a Magpie veteran.
Browse hundreds of delicious plant-based recipes online at vegkit.com.
Comedian Joel Creasy's bringing the laughs next.
We're ready to meet a dog, everyone. Look!
No, I want to get this one.
Look! They're all so gorgeous.
I'm with you.
How do you choose one of these dogs to be part of our family?
I have a feeling someone's got a favourite.
All right, so we ready to decide?
It's feel good at its fluffiest. The Doghouse, 7 o'clock Saturday.
I suddenly realised we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed Stocktake Sale. Mattresses, bedroom suites, kids' furniture and more. All up to 50% off. Plus, all this weekend, take a further 10% off. No one's better in the bedroom.
When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
Quality, style, exceptional value. A Mazda stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a Mazda CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers now.
With McDelivery, Macca's comes to you contact-free. Get free delivery every weekend on Macca's orders $25 or more via the Uber Eats app. Visit Macca's social pages for this weekend's promo code.
Amiga Montessori Long Daycare and Kindergarten is about family and care. Our staff and your little ones are our priority, and we're working hard to ensure their continued health and safety. At Amiga Montessori, we have an amazing and highly dedicated team who are here for you and your kids. Remember, we are all in this together. Amiga Montessori, preparing children for the future.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this NRL season one to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at the half and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
The world's most exotic fragrances are made by nature. That's why we've created Botanica Fragrances, infused with natural ingredients that are responsibly sourced. Botanica by Airwick.
Customers in Victoria told us that they saved, on average, $229 when they switched their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So why not get a Budget Direct quote today?
Cleansing your sensitive skin with soap is not enough. Try Garnier Micellar Water. Its micelles attract makeup and dirt like a magnet. Remove makeup better than soap. Cleanse and soothe. For powerful cleansing, use Micellar Water by Garnier, naturally.
We want you to blow our minds with amazing combos.
The Ice Cream Elimination, Sunday.
Good evening. The AFL has put a line through expanding interchange benches. League boss Gillon McLachlan says we don't need them at the moment, and the coaches now seem to agree with him.
The coaches are going to have to make do with 4 on the bench, and it suits them just fine.
I mean, with the shorter quarters, the longer breaks, it should be okay, and I don't think that we need 6.
I originally thought if it was a compressed season, it would be nearly an obligation, certainly from a welfare point of view, in regard to the players, to ensure that we had more interchange so that we could keep our best players on the park. Now that it's a week to week, I'm not as strong on that.
And we don't have to wait until the week leading into round 2. The call has been made.
Not at the moment. We're staying flexible for the moment. With the reduced quarters, we don't need them.
It's not that long ago the Bulldogs raised the cup and were the envy of the AFL, but the coach believes they again have to earn the respect of the competition.
And that'll be our challenge, to put it into action and to change perception and to develop and gain a reputation that we're proud of, and we haven't got it at the moment.
Hawthorn says Jager O'Meara's short-term prospects are in the hands of their medicos.
Yeah, well, he's just got a really slight facial fracture, but you can't muck around with those either.
As for O'Meara wearing a helmet, well, there's inspiration close to home.
Piggy Dunstall's got one of those crash hats that he can wear. We're actually thinking of ringing the chief and seeing whether we could borrow it. But the size of their melons might be a little bit of difference.
Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Ben Reid is set for another long stint on the sidelines. The injury-prone Magpie was on light duties at training in a bid to avoid injury, but even despite the extra precaution, the Premiership Pie hurt his calf today and will miss a large part of the season. It throws into serious doubt whether the defender will add to his 150-game career. Meanwhile, Reid's teammates were put through a physical session at Olympic Park while a host of players came off second best at times. The club doesn't believe it suffered any further injuries. Teammates say Lance Franklin is a shattered swan after another serious hamstring injury. But fellow forward Tom Papley is confident Buddy will eventually return as good as ever and not limp to the end of his long-term deal.
It rained again on the Swans parade. Back out on the track today, but without superstar forward Buddy Franklin.
Yeah, he's shattered and he'll bounce back and be bigger and better when he comes back as a champion of the game.
Franklin will likely be sidelined until the second half of the season after suffering another hamstring injury.
33 years of age, the best of them as a footballer is probably behind them rather than in front of him, but he's been such a freakish talent. As I wouldn't write off him by any means.
Papley says there is a silver lining.
It also gives the likes of Tommy McCartan, Lizard, Nick Blakey and those guys they're going to get the ball kicked to them more and they can really stand up.
The goal sneak insists he hasn't given much more thought to his failed off-season move to the Blues.
Obviously back home, when I'm back home it was a positive out of negative to see some family, but back here now and just excited to get into it.
Life was almost back to normal at Icon Park today, with Carlton having its whole squad out on the track for the first time since COVID-19 hit. And the coach says his players have come out of isolation in even better condition than he'd expected. Recovering forwards Harry Mackay and Eddie Betts were in the thick of the action, while Mark Pitternet and Levi Casbolt are looming as Matthew Cruise's replacement.
We've got a couple options there, so they're going to have to fight for spots. But if Pitto keeps training the way he is, I think he'll definitely be putting his hand right up for contention.
Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
The world was watching as the NRL returned last night. Now it's time for AFL fans to join them. The Storm has urged rival fans to switch across codes tomorrow as its season restarts against the Canberra Raiders.
For the next 2 weeks, the NRL is dancing on its own. The competition has the floor in Melbourne and the Storm is striving to make as much noise as possible.
It's a real good chance for the Storm to exhibit rugby league in Melbourne, and hopefully a lot of the Melbourneites will have a bit of a look and know if they haven't had a look before, and I'm sure they'll like what they see.
If Parramatta's win over Brisbane was anything to go by, if you do switch on for the first time tomorrow, expect to hear plenty of fake crowd noise.
Croft has gone straight through and takes on Gufferson. Brodie Croft, what a run!
And also this call.
6 more! And 6 more again!
Starting last night, the tackle count was reset for ruck penalties and Bellamy liked what he saw.
If you're just going on last night, I think everyone would be giving it a big tick.
Bellamy believes the rule change means there's even more reason to fear the beard out of dummy half.
We'd like to think they'll give us a little bit of an advantage with Cameron's experience and what he does so well.
Hopefully the captain will be a touch more excited about the idea when the Storm tackle the Canberra Raiders. Tim Morgan for 10 News First.
Cricket Australia boss Kevin Roberts concedes the chances of this year's T20 World Cup going ahead are diminishing by the day. A scrapped World Cup will be another blow to the game down under that is about to feel more financial pain.
An Indian summer set to bring a cash windfall, but the proposed bloodletting remains.
It's unfortunate that there will be an impact on our people. We're still in very, very uncertain times.
Cricket Australia stood down close to 200 staff on 20% pay last month as the game faces an $80 million blow. Not even a $300 million windfall from India's tour can heal the financial wounds.
We've made a commitment to significantly reduce the cost, and unfortunately that means that no area of the organisation will be untouched.
Amid the uncertainty of the coronavirus pandemic, the show must go on. Cricket Australia unveiled the full schedule, which includes international cricket in every month from August to February. The ICC have deferred a decision on the fate of this year's T20 World Cup in Australia until June 10.
We've been hopeful all along that it could be staged in October, November, but you would have to say there's a very high risk about the prospect of that happening.
After being snubbed as host of one of Australia's 4 tests against India this summer, Perth received a consolation prize, the one-off inaugural test against Afghanistan in November.
It's great that Western Australian cricket is so passionate about hosting a test series. We empathise with the disappointment over in Perth. At the same time, it's a historic moment to host Afghanistan.
Michael Caine for 10 News First.
Coronavirus has claimed another major sporting event as the MotoGP attempts to reshuffle its season. It was confirmed today that Phillip Island won't be a stop on the circuit in 2020.
We're sad for the fans who won't be able to make the pilgrimage down to Phillip Island and boost the economy of the Phillip Island and Bass Coast Shire. But what we are looking forward to is bringing MotoGP back to Phillip Island in 2021.
The MotoGP is still hoping to get a season away, likely starting in Spain in July. And top flight soccer in England is set to return from a 3-month shutdown on June 17. The plan still needs government approval, but if it gets the green light, the Premier League plans to play its remaining 92 games without crowds and across 7 days a week. Not surprisingly, the news has been well received by supporters of competition leaders Liverpool.
I'm really pleased it's back. I think it should be back as safe as possible. No one's health should be risked. But I think it has to come back. It has to come back now.
A blockbuster between Manchester City and Arsenal is one of 2 games scheduled for the first day back. We can all relate to this at the moment. Tampa Bay defensive coordinator Todd Bowles was trying to work from home before his son crashed his online media conference.
It's hard to have...
Dave, turn that down.
Yeah, special guest for us today.
Bowles hopes his team will stop the run better than he stopped his son, but for treating it all with good humour, both coach and journo can share our play of the day. See you soon, Jen.
OK, thank you, Stephen. Coming up, Mike's back with the weather, with all your weekend weather details.
How do we contain COVID if some Aussies are asymptomatic? Next.
You are one of the most inspiring cooks to ever cook in this kitchen.
But now it's time to say goodbye.
Oh my God.
Don't miss a moment. New by Solven Duo Syrup is a 2-in-1 formula traditionally used to soothe an irritated throat and relieve an associated dry cough. By Solven Duo, moments uninterrupted. On special this week at Coles.
How's that for serenity?
Can care be better at home?
Oh, it's sanctuary. Your home's a bit of a sanctuary. Yeah, for me, rehab at home, it gave me a huge amount of flexibility to be able to do the things I wanted to do. It allowed me to unstress and be in the moment in your house in your own comfort zone, which was really good for me and my state of mind.
Search Medibank at Home to see how we're creating better choices for our members.
What happens to all the dirt on your dishes? It flows in your dishwasher, affecting its cleaning performance. Add Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner, the only one that cleans your dishwasher while it cleans your dishes. Try Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner today.
Drive now, pay later on selected Volkswagen Amaroks and vans. Hit the ground rolling with your first 3 monthly repayments on us. Plus, get a 1.99% interest rate.
Volkswagen.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. If your horse runs second, third or even fourth in races 1 to 6 at Rose Hill, get your money back in bonus up to $50. PointsBet.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, plus unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale ends Sunday. Save on a great range of quality furniture. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale. Must end this Sunday. Hurry.
Lendy is helping thousands of households save on average about $2,832 in interest over the next year on their home loans. That's millions in savings for Aussies when they need it most. How can Lendy help you save?
This is a Nature Valley checklist. Whole grain oats? Yes. Artificial colours and flavours? No. Delicious ingredients? Yes. Preservatives? No. Big taste? Yes. Nature Valley. Get more out.
Now it's over to Mike for the weather.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Good evening. 17 degrees in Melbourne today with a ton of sunshine. It has cooled down because it's getting a little bit windier, but again around 17 degrees tomorrow, but we'll see a lot more wind and also cloudier afternoons on the way. Some showers tomorrow night and then a bit cooler on Sunday. But more on that in a moment. Right now, some fabulous photos that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. And it appears for Bailey, this lockdown is all about big balloons and getting dressed up. Thank you, Cara, assuming that is your champers on the right. And Amy in Mill Park, I don't think Tigger has to actually wear a mask, but very cute indeed. 7 degrees to kickstart your day, 17 degrees the maximum mid-afternoon, and a fair amount of sunshine for the most part. Friday night in your city, 14 degrees, the humidity around 70%, and the wind northerly blowing at some 25 kilometres per hour. Around Melbourne mid-afternoon, and maximums were for the most part between 16 and 18 degrees. Across our state, well, it was down to -3 at Hotham and up to 21 degrees at Walpiop today. Most centres enjoying temperatures pretty close on average, partly cloudy, light to moderate norwesterly winds and a couple of very light spots of rain in the east. Around this mighty big country of ours, and yes, by Australian, with only a couple of days until winter. Over in Perth, 21 degrees. They've had 8 millimetres of rain, 17 at the airport with more rain tonight. Adelaide, beautiful, 20. Hobart, lovely, 19. Brisbane, spectacular, 25. And in Sydney, where a musician is selling all of his John Lennon memorabilia on eBay. Imagine all the PayPal. 16 degrees, and they've had 6 millimetres of rain up there. The weather charts, a couple of cold fronts are on the way, about a day apart. The first reaching Melbourne tomorrow night for cooler, showery weather, and then the more severe front Sunday night will bring in heavier rains and cold air Monday and Tuesday. The rainfall chart falls the vicinity of 5 to 10 millimetres late tomorrow, mostly in the southwest and mostly after dark. Twice that Sunday into Monday, along with snow down to about 1,200 metres. Over to Adelaide for the weekend, 19 tomorrow, then 16 on Sunday. Windy around 20 mils this weekend. Hobart, 18, then 16 and showery on Sunday. Brisbane, still the mid-20s. Sydney, a 20, then 21 degree weekend. And in Canberra, -1 to 15. The Canberra Raiders in town to play Storm tomorrow night. Across our state, morning fogs and early morning frost in the east. Sunny at first, cloud rolling in from the west about the middle of the day. Showers to follow. The showers crossing the state overnight, reaching central Victoria around 10 p.m. The wind strengthening. Colac 8 to 16 degrees. A gale warning tomorrow for the west coast. A strong wind warning for the central coast and both bays. Around Melbourne, and a coolish start to your weekend, except for 10 at Frankston. Single figures. Coldstream 7 to 17. Tulla 8 to 16. And on the bays, northerly winds to 30 knots. Waves 2 metres. So for Melbourne, as restrictions continue lifting from Monday, a little on the windy side, but remaining dry tonight. Tomorrow, sunny and 17, 9 to 17. In the afternoon, cloud rolling in, possibly showers at night. And then Sunday, 11 to 17, partly cloudy, an 80% chance of showers. So, yep, put that in the bank, but only a couple of mils. And then Monday, coinciding with the first day of winter, colder and wetter, 9 to 14 degrees, 4 to 15 millimetres of rain. And then it's 14, 14, 14, 14, but tomorrow, 17 degrees in Melbourne.
The developing stories we're following tonight. A multi-million-dollar backflip over Robodebt. A state of emergency declared in Minneapolis following another day of searing race anger. And a zookeeper fighting for life in hospital after being mauled by 2 lions. The federal government has been forced to swallow yet another humiliating bungle with taxpayers' money. Hot on the heels of the $60 billion JobKeeper slip-up, Scott Morrison has officially ended the drawn-out Robodebt disaster. Close to $750 million will be paid back, which the tax office took illegally from everyday Australians. The PM left the embarrassing announcement to someone else.
The best advice we have is that raising a debt wholly or partly on the basis of ATO income average or averaged income is not sufficient under law.
Victims of the failed scheme will start getting their refunds in July. Rioting on the streets of Minneapolis has escalated again, with protesters storming a police precinct and setting it alight. It comes after a state of emergency was declared, and a warning: this story contains footage viewers may find confronting.
The Twin Cities erupted in anger again Thursday night over the death of George Floyd. The 46-year-old died after being detained by police on suspicion of passing a phony $20 bill. The tragedy prompted immediate outrage, sparking protests that have turned violent at times. Fires burned through the night. You can see the smoke still billowing in the air. A Target store is one of several that have been looted or vandalized. Other buildings have been burned, including an auto parts store near the police station where the officers worked. Longtime community activist Spike Moss says this is what happens to dreams deferred. Does this violence help?
It doesn't help anything, but it lets you know they're tired. They're tired of being oppressed, being misused, being abused, being murdered at will.
Governor Tim Walz has activated the Minnesota National Guard to help restore order. 4 police officers involved in the arrest have been fired, including Derek Chauvin, the one seen on video kneeling on Floyd's neck until he lost consciousness. Those officers are now the subject of several investigations, including by the FBI and the Justice Department. Local prosecutor Michael Freeman will decide if criminal charges should be filed.
We are going to investigate it as expeditiously, as thoroughly and completely as justice demands. Sometimes that takes a little time, and we ask people to be patient. We have to do this right, and that's what we'll do.
Today, the city's police chief apologized for his officers' actions on Monday, but it's hard to tell whether that's going to make a difference out here right now. At the police precinct where the 4 fired officers once worked, protesters are still surrounding the building. The building is still under siege.
Victorian employees are being urged to dob in their boss if they try to insist workers return to the office. State political reporter Simon Love joins us now. Simon, why is Daniel Andrews taking such a hard line?
Well, Jen, the Premier fears there could be a second wave of infections if thousands of Melburnians return to the public transport network. The modelling shows that the system can only cope with 15% of usual passenger capacity to maintain adequate social distance on the network. And the modelling also shows that if the remaining of Melburnian workers were to jump in the car and come to the city, then the roads would be in absolute gridlock. So the onus really is on employers to ensure that those workers that have been working from home continue to work from home. But if they push the other way, then workers could dob in their boss, and the bosses do face hefty fines of up to $100,000 if they breach strict Chief Health Officer directions.
We have the power to enforce that, and if an office that had currently, say, 80% of their staff working from home decided, oh, well, we'll just ignore the Chief Health Officer and we'll have everybody come back Monday, then they would be in breach of the public health orders, and there are significant penalties.
The Premier today revealed a further 7 new cases of coronavirus in Victoria. They include a student from Keilor Downs Secondary College. That school has been placed into lockdown. It's been closed. All students, in fact around 100 students, have been told to self-isolate after being close contacts of that student. It's been extensively cleaned, and there will be a mobile testing van in the Keilor Downs area tomorrow. And Jen, finally tonight I can reveal that the state of emergency that was due to expire on May the 31st is set to and expected to be extended in the coming days. That will allow authorities to continue enforcing key restrictions, as some of them are eased on Monday.
OK, thank you very much, Simon. A zookeeper is fighting for her life in hospital tonight after she was mauled by 2 lions. Her co-workers risked their own lives to save her, running into the enclosure to subdue the animals. Michael Hammond has more.
This tragedy is yet another cruel blow for Shoalhaven Zoo, forced shut due to COVID-19 restrictions and now seeing one of its own workers savaged. A 35-year-old zookeeper suffered deep cuts to her face and neck after 2 male lions turned on her as she was cleaning their enclosure today.
It's a small zoo and the staff are very tight-knit, but again, full credit to those employees that followed their training.
Those colleagues helped lock up the big cats so paramedics could get her the care she desperately needed. Experienced medics have described this as one of the worst jobs they've ever seen.
I've never been in a lion's den before, to be quite fair, but the fact is I was getting my priorities right and focusing on the patient care.
The woman was flown to a Sydney hospital in a critical but stable condition as police set up a crime scene at the zoo. This isn't the first time safety has come under the spotlight here, with a croc handler pulled into the water by a salty in 2014, luckily left with only minor injuries.
If there's anything that we can do to make them make these type of establishments safer, we'll be doing our best to support that.
Authorities are still working out if they will put down the lions responsible for this latest attack. The zoo has declined to comment.
Australian man Jock Palfreyman can start thinking about a return home after Bulgaria's highest court dismissed an appeal against his release from prison. Mr Palfreyman has been free since October last year, but unable to leave the country while his parole was challenged. He spent nearly 12 years behind bars for murder after stabbing a man to death back in 2007. But he has always maintained he acted in self-defence. Prosecutors say they're trying to simplify the case against a Melbourne mother charged over a global superannuation scam. Jasmine Valarapachi from Derrimut is accused of being part of a syndicate that attempted to steal millions from super and share trading accounts. Today, a court heard some of the 53 charges will be withdrawn. The 21-year-old's bail was extended. She'll face a committal hearing next year. The Chinese Parliament has passed a new security bill that, in effect, ends Hong Kong's independence. Australia's Prime Minister has joined the chorus of condemnation from country leaders who describe China's latest power play as dangerous.
President Xi is a very oppressive tyrant, as you know.
We urge China to step back from the brink and live up to its responsibilities as a leading member of the international community.
Violent protests have been happening on the streets for almost a year, setting the scene for even more heated diplomatic discussions. Well, let's get the latest on our traffic now. It's back up to Sebastian Cant in the chopper.
Thanks, Jen. Good evening again. We're now above the Hume Freeway in the VegKit traffic chopper. Northbound, just after Cooper Street, we spotted a car in the centre median there. As you can see, somebody standing next to it. Don't know why. A little bit fresh out there tonight. Regardless, big delays for traffic heading up towards the Hume on the Ring Road, especially after that earlier crash I mentioned that we had near Sydney Road. But as you can see, big delays northbound for traffic heading outbound on the Hume this evening. Have a lovely weekend. Back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Sebastian. Well, Stephen's back now and trouble in the A-League.
Yeah, there sure is, Jen. The players say they've been left in the dark for way too long. Also, Luke Beveridge puts the acid on his Bulldogs. The Swans rally behind Buddy. And the Eagles demanding answers, fearing they may become the AFL's nomads.
Three Australians are reaping the benefits of cutting out or cutting back on meat. Get your free veg starter kit at vegkit.com.
Bendy guests, singing sensations and a guy who dances with a lamp. Tommy's gathered some seriously skilled legends. Don't miss it next.
At Harvey Norman, get up to $500 of bonus gift cards on Intel laptops. Get a $100 bonus gift card with this Lenovo IdeaPad laptop, now only $999. A bonus $200 gift card with this Asus VivoBook Flip laptop for $1,499. Or a bonus $400 gift card with this HP Pavilion laptop featuring the latest 10th Gen Intel Core i7 processor. Up to $500 of bonus gift cards on Intel laptops, now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
If you're gonna wear a red lip, commit to it. Not the guy, the lip.
Somebody, come on.
We're coming to you live from the scene. Tell us what you've got there. Toilet paper?
Nah, just dinner stuff.
Right. You must have paid an unprecedented price for that during these unprecedented times.
Nah, they're from Aldi. Prices are always low.
Let's just go.
Whatever happens, our low prices are here to stay. Aldi. Good. Different.
For me, the pull of the Australian landscape is that it's got this beaten, weathered harshness, which is contrasted by these beautiful colours and soft matte surfaces. I love how a matte surface holds light, how it diffuses the light, It's absolute joy to photograph. It's like colour-bond steel matte. It's strong, enduring, yet subtle in its beauty.
Should I be worried?
With COVID-19 Health Assist, eligible members can receive health advice from hundreds of Medibank healthcare experts at no extra cost. See how we're providing better support today.
Do you know what type of cough you have? Do you have the right cough medicine? Bronchodual relieves any cough. It can be used for the relief of dry, tickly, chesty, mucus or phlegm coughs. Bronchodual relieves any cough.
Illusion is on fire! A warm home is a safe home. Support Australia's largest manufacturer of gas log fires, Illusion. Buy direct and save thousands. Heaters starting at $2,499. Don't be left out on the cold. Dandenong, Epping and North Geelong.
If you're struggling to balance work, life and family, you need to shake it up. Ensure Health Shakes help you get the nutrition you need to help your body build strength from within, with a prebiotic and antioxidants to support a healthy immune system, calcium and protein for muscle and bone health. Put more balance in your work-life balance. Shake it up with Ensure. Jamie's serving up sizzling fajitas.
Really fun, family-friendly food. Yeah.
Then Graham's getting hot with Katy Perry.
I put the hoe in Hollywood.
And Steve Carell, well, he's on fire.
And then my head bursts into flames.
It's your Friday winter warmer tonight on 10. Ooh, careful, it's hot.
Alistair Clarkson has put it on the players to take control of their own destiny. With list cuts looming next year, the Hawks coach says all footballers need to focus on the job at hand.
And we've got a season of footy to play. And for every individual player right across the competition, they've got an enormous opportunity over the course of the next 16 rounds, plus finals, to shape what that looks like.
He says Jaeger O'Meara won't resume full training until Monday week, with the club medicos to make a final call on his availability for round 2. Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge says actions, not words, will make his club great again. But he says they have to earn back the competition's respect.
And that'll be our challenge, to put into action and to change perception and to develop and gain a reputation that we're proud of, and we haven't got it at the moment.
Beveridge is pleased the league is staying with 4 on the interchange bench for the 2020 season. Teammate say Lance Franklin is shattered after another hamstring injury, but fellow forward Tom Papley says the Swan star will return as good as ever. And in Buddy's absence, it gives younger players a chance to shine.
Also gives the likes of Tommy McCartan, Lizard, Nick Blakey and those guys they're going to get the ball kicked to them more, and they can really stand up.
Franklin will be sidelined until the second half of the season. Carlton's coach says he has a ruck battle on his hands, with players returning to training in better condition than he expected. Mark Pitnet and Levi Casbolt are looming as Matthew Cruz's replacement.
A couple options there, so they're going to have to fight for spots, but if Pitto keeps training the way he is, I think he'll definitely be putting his hand right up for contention.
Today's session was the first time the Blue squad has trained together since COVID-19 hit. West Coast Eagles coach Adam Simpson is demanding answers as to where his team will be based when they finish their month-long stint on the Gold Coast. Simpson is calling for WA hubs, fearing the Eagles may be forced to then move to Melbourne.
Ready to rumble, but Adam Simpson doesn't want his team bounced around the country. The coach playing whistleblower today, waiting for the AFL to make a decision on how long the Eagles will be on the road.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that probably our players and staff are grappling with, the anxiety of we don't want to be there for the whole year, and I don't think that's fair on anyone. I think everyone agrees on that. But, you know, if it's 4 or 5 weeks and we've got to do the right thing for the competition, you know, bring it on. So as quick as we can get a decision on return date for our families, the better for us.
No one will be forced to the East Coast, and Will Schofield is one player yet to commit to playing in a hub.
So, young family, and we respect that, and there's no pressure to to do anything other than he needs to do for his family. So he'll weigh that up, and when the time's right, he'll tell me.
More than 2 months after their round 1 win over Melbourne, West Coast warmed up for the restart with an intra-club hit-out. The players didn't hold back, and 16-minute quarters are getting mixed feedback.
I'm not sure if it's an advantage or disadvantage. You know, for someone like Andrew Gough, he's not happy. But if it's someone like Nick, he's pretty happy.
Skills have long angered the Purple Army, but perhaps the break has been beneficial to the developing Dockers.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're kicking the best we have, especially with the way the weather's been. I mean, the boys are really focusing on their kicks, and it looks like they've gone away and really looked to develop their games.
Freo undertook some match simulation of their own this morning. All but 4 listed players took part. Jesse Hogan strutting his stuff, while Stephen Hill was a welcome sight to the forward line.
The way he moves around the ground is just unbelievable, and I'd just love to have him moving off half-back or in the midfield and kicking it to us up forward.
Steve Allen for 10 News First.
Cricket Australia boss Kevin Roberts admits the T20 World Cup is unlikely to go ahead. The ICC has deferred a decision on the fate of this year's tournament in Australia until June 10.
Obviously, we've been hopeful all along that it could be staged in October, November. But you would have to say there's a very high risk about the prospect of that happening.
Roberts says despite a $300 million windfall this summer with India touring, more jobs at Cricket Australia will be lost. Melbourne Victory defender James Donaghy says players have been left frustrated by the slowness of yesterday's return to play deal. He, along with a host of other A-League players, have been training in a public park and are disappointed with the league's recent lack of communication.
Here's a sight you don't see every day. Players from Wellington Phoenix, Adelaide United, Melbourne Victory and the Brisbane Roar training side by side. Why? Until they can return to their clubs in mid-June, they don't have a choice.
Quite frustrating, actually. We're just kind of trying to do what we can to kind of tick us over until we're all back. But if you let that frustration kind of take over you, you maybe lose a bit of motivation. So that's why it's been good to come out here and train with all the players.
There is great relief among them, though. After initial reports, their salaries could be slashed by up to 80%. They'll instead get to keep 95% across the next 15-month period.
But they've done it with the greater good in mind, and that greater good is to ensure the league can conclude this season and we can build on this into next season.
Welcome news. During the pandemic, many have struggled to make ends meet.
All the clubs that I know, most of the clubs except for probably Melbourne City who are getting paid, are obviously on the Jobkeeper like everyone else. It's not only a hard time for us as it was a hard time for everybody.
It's always incredibly disappointing when you have to forego a significant portion of salary for even a short period of time, and that's what the players have had to do.
With a return to clubland still a few weeks away, sessions in public parks like this will have to continue.
The quicker we can get back to training and playing games and doing what we're here to do, the better for all of us.
That's a month and a half more waiting, but as they say, better late than never. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Tough times for the A-League, that's for sure. Have a good weekend, Jen.
Thank you, Steve. And Mike will be back after the break with the 7-day forecast.
Wonderful.
I love it.
Wacky. Ice cream.
We want you to blow our minds with amazing combos. Jess, what are you thinking?
Kind of pairing licorice dark chocolate with basil.
Say what?
The most emotional episode of the season.
It has been an utter pleasure to watch you cook the most incredible creations, but now it's time to say goodbye.
The Ice Cream Elimination, 7:30 Sunday.
This is Luke. Rather than make assumptions about how he uses his car, we listened. He saved $382 when he switched to Yui.
I was just absolutely amazed that we could actually save that amount.
Luke is an environmental specialist who normally drives his car 3 days a week to get to work. But during this crisis, he's working from home. So we thought it was only right to give Luke temporary relief on his car insurance premium.
Having somebody listen to how you actually use your car was really impressive.
Yui, you insured.
Most Australians use their home internet very differently these days. So the quality of your Wi-Fi signal is more important than ever. Wi-Fi gets weaker when it travels from room to room. Walls, furniture, and even TVs can affect the signal strength. For the best possible signal, try moving your Wi-Fi modem into the open. For more home internet help, visit nbn.com.au/optimise.
Catch the Supercars stars taking on the world's best drivers and tracks in the BP Supercars All-Stars E-Series. Qualifying from 6 p.m, racing from 7. Live every Wednesday where you get your motorsport fix.
When life gives you messiness, Godfrey's stock take sale gives you cleanliness. Ecovac Steambot 600 robot, $299, save $100. iVac Steam Mop, $59, save $40. Godfrey's cleanliness.
Healthy morning habits help prepare you for the day ahead. Sustagen Hospital Formula Active contains the essential vitamins, minerals and quality protein your body needs to stay strong and active. Sustagen, it's never too late to start.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
Oh. Hi.
Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, away on. Can't see you. Oh, yeah, there you are. Hi.
So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
Unpolished beauty. It defines our country, our products, our people. And at Stratco, we're proud of it. Because these calloused hands show our expertise is earned. From decades of custom crafting, roofing and cladding solutions for remarkable Australian homes. Colorbond Steel's stunning matte finish. Brought to life by Stratco. You bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
Up next, COVID-19 can spread by stealth, so how do we find the Aussies who aren't showing symptoms? We check in with our mate, comedian Joel Creasy, who's been laughing his way through isolation. And human pretzels versus singing sensations, Tommy's lined up some unusual tricksters to show off on your screens. The Project next.
Mike's back now with the weather.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. And finally, it is the weekend and we're really excited. 17 degrees in Melbourne today, 17 again tomorrow, a little bit cooler on Sunday. And yes, we have some showers on the way as we go from autumn to winter. A couple of photos now that have been sent to Mike's Picks at network10.com.au. And as per usual, they are fabulous. First up from Ray Lewis, we've got the white cliffs of Black Rock under blue skies. And reflecting on sunset, Charles Standing Snap, Kensington section of the Maribyrnong, and that is quite simply marvellous. 7 to 17 degrees, that was your temperature range across Melbourne today. At the moment outside, it's around 13, 14 degrees, the humidity at 70%, and the wind northerly, although coming up from the southwest, blowing at 12 kilometres per hour, so it feels closer to about 10 or 11 degrees if it's going outside. Around Melbourne today, temperatures were pretty close on average, and skies have for the most part been mostly sunny, mainly between 16 and 18 degrees early to mid-afternoon. Across the state, down to -3, that was the overnight low in the Alps at Hotham, and 21 degrees today's max up in the northwest at Walpia. Most centres enjoying temperatures pretty close on average. A couple of very light spots of rain in the east of our state today. Around Australia, and the campaign again by Australian, yes sirree. Over in the west it's been raining. They've had 8 millimetres of rain at Perth, 7 in at the airport, and it continues to rain in the west tonight. Adelaide, a very pleasant 20-degree day. Hobart, a degree cooler, but still very, very nice indeed. In the national capital, 0. Oh, that was cold this morning. 15 this afternoon. A degree warmer, 16 in Sydney, but it's been raining. 6 millimetres of rain falling there today. Over the weekend, lovely up in Sydney. They're looking at 20, then 21 degrees this weekend. Up in Brisbane, 24, then 23. In Canberra, again, 15 tomorrow, a little bit cooler on Sunday. Hobart, 18 tomorrow, but 16 and showery on Sunday. In Adelaide, around 19 tomorrow, then 16 and windy, and around 20 mils of rain the latter part of the weekend. As we move into our state, morning fogs and early morning frosts in the east, and it will be a sunny day at first, but we'll see cloud rolling in from the west around the middle of the day. We've got some showers to follow, just light showers for the most part at the beginning. The showers then crossing the state at night, reaching central Victoria around 10 p.m, and the rain's getting a little bit heavier then, and the wind also strengthening and northerly strengthening in the afternoon. Colac 8 to 16, Warrnambool 9 to 19, Hamilton 7 to 17 degrees, and pretty much showers across those areas after dark. Wind warnings, a gale warning for the west coast, a strong wind warning for the central coast and also both bays around Melbourne, and it will be a coolish start to the all-important weekend. Frankston, for example, down to 10 degrees. Mount D, temperature range of 6 to 13 tomorrow. And on the bays, with a strong wind warning, northerly winds to 30 knots, waves 2 metres, and the sun rising at 25 past 7. So for our wonderful city by the bay, a little on the windy side tonight, but remaining dry. Tomorrow, sunny and 17, down to about 9, a top of 17 degrees. In the afternoon, cloud blowing in, and it will get sort of windy northerlies, getting up to 40 kilometres per hour. A couple of very light showers at night. And then Sunday, 11 to 17, a partly cloudy day, a great chance of rain, only a couple of mils there. And then it gets colder on Monday, the first day of winter, colder and wetter, in fact, 9 to 14 degrees, 4 to 15 millimetres of rain. Tuesday again chilly, 8 to 14 with morning showers, about 5 mils. Wednesday, 14 degrees with a shower or two. Thursday, 14, very cold Thursday night. And then Friday, also around 14 degrees. That's it. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see your smiling faces in winter. Yeah, see you on Monday. Jen.
Thank you, Mike. And that's 10 News First for this Friday. I'll have updates throughout the evening. The project is next, but for now, good night.
Tonight, the government